It's that time of the year again, mock draft time. And I'm done my first and only mock draft ever. But was it destroyed last minute by Joe Douglas and the New York Jets? Find out all that and more coming up next.
The following announcement has been paid for by
the ENN Podcast.
He has a good energy, you guys.
Yeah. Can you believe it? Can
Sports.
you feel it? Can you feel that excitement? The merchandise, wearing the hats.
Chris Wild here live from Lincoln Finance.
And I'm telling you, if you let Eli Manning walk into that stadium and make you look stupid and get a Giants W.
Music.
Wow.
Whoa! Shit.
And more.
What's his next book gonna be called? Spineless?
Mike.
We were beating our chest hard, beating it like King Kong. Welcome back, everybody, to the Eagles News Now podcast. I'm professional wrestler, fantasy football champion, and the good brother of Broad Street, Chris Wild, back at bar 4133 to give you guys another video. And I'm excited about this one because, look, this time of the year, you can't go onto the internet, you can't go onto social media, you can't listen to the radio without hearing somebody's mock draft, whether it's super NFL analyst or regular Joe on the street. They share one thing in common, and that's nobody knows anything. I mean, these are all guesses. Every year you look at your favorite mock draft, it looks completely different to what actually happens. I mean, you're talking your Mel Kiper Jr.'s, anybody. It's always different. So this is a talking point. This is what we do because we don't have much to talk about football-wise come this time of year. However, some things were shaken up as I go to put out my first ever mock draft as the New York Jets and the Carolina Panthers make a trade that sends Sam Darnold of the Jets to the Panthers for a 6th-round pick this year and a 2nd-round pick in next year's draft. So that almost threw a wrench into my plans because the Carolina Panthers, as we all know, have wanted a quarterback and have needed a quarterback. It seems like they have one, so they might not draft one this year. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about it right now. Let's get right into my mock draft for 2021. And let's not forget that it was weeks ago that Howie Roseman did the big FU to all of us that pounded our chest about that 6th pick in the draft as he traded that to the Dolphins to get pick 12 and a 1st next year. However, I think they can still get one of my guys at 12 with what I put together in this mock draft. As always, if you're a first-time listener and you like what you hear and see, please hit that subscribe button. And if you're one of my subscribers that have been around for a long time, tell me if I'm a complete idiot by this draft, or tell me if you like it or who you think we might get or who we should get at 12. But let's get right into it with the first pick. This is going to be no surprise. It hasn't been a surprise for months, as the Jacksonville Jaguars are the first team to choose, and they're going to choose Trevor Lawrence, quarterback out of Clemson. Again, no surprise there. Urban Meyer didn't even go to any other pro days for any other quarterbacks. Number 2 is a guy that apparently the Eagles wanted to trade up to get. Joe Douglas gave him the Iggy that they were going to take him, and that's the New York Jets get Zach Wilson from BYU. Not exactly my cup of tea. Not my favorite quarterback in the draft, but the Jets take him at 2. Now the San Francisco 49ers pick next. The same day that Howie Roseman screwed us all over, the San Francisco 49ers gave up 18 million first-round picks to trade with the Dolphins to get this pick. Now, you don't trade away all those number 1 picks unless you're going to pick a franchise quarterback who you hope is going to be a franchise quarterback. Now, Kyle Shanahan really likes one guy, and I think that Kyle Shanahan is going to get what he wants, and that's Mac Jones, quarterback out of Alabama. There's no way in hell I would ever pick him this high. I wouldn't even pick him in the top 10. The guy looks like he's 12 years old, and he's had super weapons around him. I don't know. I'm not saying that he's not a good quarterback. I just don't think he's a top 3 quarterback. Top 3 quarterback. Number 4 is the Atlanta Falcons, and our dream of Kyle Pitts would have ended there because I believe the Atlanta Falcons give Matt Ryan a couple more years to go and take Kyle Pitts, who is more a wide receiver than a tight end, to be a part of that Atlanta Falcons offense. Now, they could also pick a quarterback here, which would help out the Eagles, but I think that they pick Kyle Pitts at 4 at 5. I think the Bengals, we've heard a lot of noise that the Bengals are going to take Jamar Chase to team back up with Joe Burrow as the chemistry is already there. I don't believe it for a second. I think when the Bengals saw Joe Burrow go down earlier in the season for the rest of the season, I believe that right away they knew they had to get some help for that offensive line as it was absolutely horrible. And I think there's no way they let Penei Sewell get past them here. At 5, I think he goes to them as they have to get some protection for their franchise quarterback. You can have the best weapons in the world and all the chemistry in the world, but if you got no one to protect you, you're going to be hurt and gone for the season as he was last year. Here we are at 6, and this one's going to hurt, guys, but I believe that the Miami Dolphins take Jamar Chase at 6, the guy that I wanted, the guy that you wanted, the guy that Eagles fans everywhere, I guess besides Kyle Pitts, wanted. The guy is an absolute stud, and it would have been great to have him here. And we're going to have to, and it would be great for the Bengals to take him so we could think, well, we wouldn't have got him anyway. But that one's going to sting. Hopefully, the guy that I think we're going to get evens out our feelings here. Next up is the Detroit Lions. Now, I think they could go quarterback, but I really think they're going to give Jared Goff a year or two to get acclimated. I mean, Jared Goff took a team to the Super Bowl. Yeah, it was more on the run game and defense, and coach. But I think Goff has something to prove, and I think they're going to let him try to prove it. And look, they lost a couple wide receivers this year. I think they get another one back with what could be the most promising wide receiver in the entire draft, and that's Jalen Waddle from Alabama. Before he got hurt, this guy was an absolute stud. He's comparable to Tyreek Hill. I really believe in him, and I think Detroit believes in him, and they're going to take him there. Here comes number 8, right? Here comes number 8. The pick that I thought was going to be the Carolina Panthers picking a quarterback. Now, that's probably not going to happen. It could happen, but you're not going to throw all those assets into quarterback right away. I don't believe it. I think Matt Rule's smarter than that. And I think he trades out of the 8th spot with a team that desperately needs a quarterback and a general manager that needs a decent season or some promise to keep his job, and that's the Chicago Bears. I think they trade up to 8 and pick my favorite quarterback in the entire draft, being Justin Fields from Ohio State. I think Justin Fields, his size, the way he moves around, the way he throws the ball on the run, I love everything about this dude. I think he goes to the Bears and saves the GM's job, because once he gets in there and shows some promise, you have every right in the world to ask for another year to get this team right. And I think this is a step in the right direction with a team that let Deshaun Watson go by, let Patrick Mahomes go by, and drafted Mitchell Trubisky. I think they actually get it right this time by picking Justin Fields. Now I think this pick's going to get traded no matter what. I'm almost sure it'll be the Bears, but it could be a team like the New England Patriots too. We'll see. Next up, another quarterback-needy team. That's the Denver Broncos. Now, Drew Lock has not shown anything special. I don't think John Elway wants anything to do with the guy. But one guy I think he does want something to do with is a guy that has shown some comparisons to Patrick Mahomes. I know it's crazy. It's North Dakota State quarterback Trey Lance. I think he goes to Denver. They got some good pieces in last year's draft, some fast receivers on that offense. I think they throw Trey Lance in there as well and give him a shot. Next up is the Dallas Cowgirls, and they're going to pick a guy I thought they were going to pick ever since this season ended, and that's a guy I did a reaction video to a couple weeks ago. I think he is the most polished and NFL-ready corner in the draft. That's Patrick Surtain II. I think he goes over there to Dallas, teams up with his old partner, and gives the Dallas Cowboys a better secondary than they had last year, as it was statistically the worst in history. So they get their guy. Sucks, but that's what happens. The New York Giants pick next. 2 NFC East teams back-to-back in front of the Eagles. This is one of the things I had a problem with the trade, that these 2 teams were picking ahead of us. If the Giants don't trade this pick away, I think that there is no way that they can go without, just like the Bengals. Look, you can have all the pieces in the world, and they added some pieces to their offense, some wide receivers, a tight end. But look, you've done nothing to help your offensive line. Nothing to help it. I believe they lost somebody on the offensive line, the best part of their offensive line. They've done nothing to help the offensive line out. They've got to do it in this draft, and it's got to be here. And I think they take a guy that some people think is better than Penei Sewell. They think they take Rashawn Slater here, and I can't blame them. It would be a good pick for the Giants to pick Rashawn Slater because, like I said, Daniel Jones is getting his ass pounded every time he steps onto the field. He begins the game as an NFL quarterback, and he leaves the game as a punching bag or a broken and beaten UFC fighter. I mean, he absolutely gets destroyed in there, and they've got to make a pick at offensive line, which leaves the Philadelphia Eagles with one of the guys. There were 3 guys I wanted at 6. Jamar Chase, obviously my number 1. Kyle Pitts, my number 2. And then this guy, Devonta Smith, Heisman Trophy winner, elusive, exciting wide receiver from Alabama. Now, he benefited from Jalen Waddle's injury. This is a guy that in the championship game had 3 touchdowns in the first half. Look, a lot of NFL teams are going to stay away from him because of his size. The Eagles have had some undersized wide receivers that have been pretty good in the past. This guy's better than all of them. I think he's a stud, and I would be absolutely ecstatic, and you'll see a pretty good reaction if the Eagles are able to pick him. I think that the Detroit Lions, it's between Waddle and Smith. I hope they go Waddle. Again, I'd be cool with Waddle here as well. Devonta Smith's a guy that I really want. And yeah, I know size matters, right? But the guy can always put on muscle. This dude, he's ready to. We need it. We've got no wide receivers. We don't know what Jalen Reagor is, and that's it. After that, it's just a bunch of guys. We need a guy that can be a star, and I think that Devonta Smith could be a star, and I hope that he's on the board when the Eagles pick. And if that's the case, and you get Devonta Smith, and you've got an extra number 1 next year, then look, Howie Roseman did a pretty good damn job. I hate to say it. As of right now, I hate what he did. If they pick an offensive lineman, or if they pick a guy like what the guy Pay from the undersized defensive end from Michigan, I'm going to be pissed off, and it's going to be horrible. If they get a guy like this, or Jalen Waddle, or J.C. Horn, corner, or Caleb Farley, then I'm okay with the trade. I think then, we're ready to say maybe Howie's season is back. But until then, I'll be ready to drive him to the airport when he gets fired. But look, guys, that's it. Again, thanks everybody for watching. Please hit that subscribe button if you haven't. You liked what you saw. We're gonna be looking at some more guys. I'm gonna look at Devonta Smith from the reaction room later on this week, and plus tons of other content on this channel. As always, sports, music, wrestling, and more. And I hope you guys are enjoying what you're seeing so far. Also, I'm really thinking about doing some Phillies and Sixers if I can find the time as I returned to the ring last week. Thanks everybody for showing support for that. With that being said, guys, as always, stay safe, stay healthy, go Birds, and I'll see you later.
E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles! E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles!
I need Eagle Nation.